Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to have a look at the demo of Picayune Dreams. What is Picayune Dreams? Picayune Dreams is a Survivorlike. Oh, wait, stop. Don't turn it off. That is not quite... Well, that's technically what it is. But Picayune Dream actually has quite an interesting twist to this ever popular formula, so to speak. So I actually found this game, I think via Twitter, where I saw some people comparing this game with games like Nier, the Nier series, Nier Automata, and so on, which have, in my opinion, a heavy emphasis on hidden story, hidden lore that you need to really pay attention to understand what is going on, like a puzzle piece that you have to solve, so to speak, which is for a lot of people very intriguing, me included, even though I have certain gripes with the Nier series in general, but that is maybe a topic for a different day. Regardless, I played this game now for roughly over 4 hours, and again, this is just the demo. This is with just a decent amount of content, so to speak, but I was so intrigued and I wanted to find out more about this world, and the overall gameplay is quite interesting as well. But blah blah blah, and without stumbling about my own tongue, this is what I would like to show you guys today, and at the end of the videos give you my honest, well, in this case, second impression. So before we start though, there's one more thing which I maybe should have mentioned at the beginning. What is this interesting specific twist that makes some people compare this to the Nier series? Well, frankly, I saw the comparison more having played this now a bit more like with these old RPG Maker games like Yumeniki, if you know that game, because... Well, let's just get this out of there. So you play this game, you start off when you download this game, you play your first round, typical Survivor-like gameplay, which is very good, and I'm going to show you this in a second. But after your first round, you unlock a memory, and the game gives you the choice to watch said memory. And that is where I make this comparison to Yumeniki, because suddenly you're kind of playing this... what feels like one of these older RPG Maker games where you navigate through a dreamlike world. There literally have been giant carrots and bunnies, fluffy white bunnies all over the place, and weird looking creatures that talk to you and gave you hints and what your character is, how it came to apparently drifting in this kind of robotic suit as we see here in the main screen, and how we came to be in this suit, and giving you this little bit of a background information, or at least some tidbits. Also, there's, of course, interesting boss enemies that also make some references that hint at a bigger picture that you as a character and you as a player want to unlock and want to understand. And after that, I was hooked, frankly, after this first initial playthrough with this memory that I watched. And I played this again more for up to 4 hours, a bit more, because frankly, I was searching for a second memory that I could show you guys this. I haven't found one. So for that particular thing, you just have to trust me. If that Yumeniki kind of style is already something that you like in comparison with the Survivor-like gameplay, you might keep an eye out for Picayune Dreams. But besides this, let's actually have a look at the core mechanic of this game, beside this memory, which I unfortunately can't show you because I haven't found another one. Maybe we find another one just while playing this right now, I have no idea. So first off, we have credits, we have an exit program configuration. This game also has a heavy emphasis, and we will see this once we are in the gameplay and look at certain unlockables and upgrades and different weapons that we can choose, which is typical for this kind of style. On this, it has this emphasis on programming and kind of being hidden, and you have to pay attention to understand this, which maybe might be off-putting for some people, but frankly I found this very engaging and different enough in this style of game. So first off, we have a loadout. I already managed to get to the maximum level of 10, and these are essentially our meta progression upgrades, which are also not just very basic upgrades like increased movement speed, increased cooldown or decreased cooldown, increased attack speed. No, it has like things like every time a boss is slain, they will drop an injectable drill that will provide a powerful buff and a slight nerve. Or this, upon answering a call from a powerful foe, the incoming signal will magnetize all XP towards you. Or if you, every time you defeat a boss, you get permanently 10 HP increase, or something like this. Enemies surrounded by your black hole will be dragged into its death. Black holes essentially, like if we look at the older arcade shooter games or so, we can press space. We have 3 of these black holes. I can use them every time I want to, and they're essentially almost like a screen clear. So if you're getting overwhelmed by all the enemies that are trying to get you, you can just use one of your limited bombs and hope to survive said onslaught, so to speak. And this game is challenging, don't get me wrong. I have luckily a bit of upgrades, and I have played this quite enough to be comfortable enough that I think I can show you a little bit more past the like first 4 minutes or so, because this game is really out to get you. There's a lot of enemies, they want to overwhelm you. There's a lot of interesting enemies as well that all have a unique pattern, a unique design. But how about I actually shut up and show you the game? Let's hit system start, and instead of talking, how about I actually show you, right? We are 6 minutes into the video and there's no gameplay. Oh man, typical Zack. So there we go, we were drifting in space. We are getting activated after having been deactivated. And this is a new route and a new run, so to speak. And up here and at the bottom, these are essentially my 3 black holes. Upper right corner, we have a timer, which is, I don't think it's that important between the runs. Usually one of these, once we unlock was, you can see we have a choice between 4 options of where I want and where I can go to. Let's actually go, sure, upper right corner, and then we have to survive essentially 5 minutes in that. And after that, a boss will appear. Also in the upper left corner, the more time gets passed in these different ones, the mortality rate gets increased. Essentially, the game gets harder and harder. Also, I'm gonna be a bit lazy. You can see I can aim my shots, and there's also, thanks to one of the unlocks I did, I can also shoot from my base core ability to my back. I'm actually going to press Control and essentially with that activate auto aim. I found it to be more comfortable to just run with auto-aim. There might be an incentive to not do this in certain boss fights where you have to aim a bit more, but this also just gives you more lenient way and more chance to actually concentrate on invading enemies and enemy projectiles, because this game is at its core also quite a bullet hell, but I'm gonna show you this. So we have a choice, and this is what I meant earlier. If I now look at, for example, this Telecom Alpha upgrade, we have essentially just hardware enhancement code. And you really have to take a breather and actually look at this. And if you understand programming, this is probably super easy for you. But I would argue, even if you don't, if you just take a moment to read these lines and try to understand them, they should give you at least a good impression of what these things are going to do. But this game wants to play around with you, understanding its game, its lore, its mechanics step by step instead of being super honest. So I feel like this actually adds to the sense on what this game is trying to go for. We can, for example, choose this one. We can also just go, this is very easy. This is a passive burst. Projectile speed will be increased by just 5%. Or I'm gonna choose this. I know this already. This is a parasite. These guys are very awesome because they are essentially always there. As you can see, every frame, they will always be out there. This is not a weapon I shoot, but this is essentially a minion I summon, so to speak, and they just automatically look for the nearest enemy and just cling to them and drain them dry, so to speak. I like this because I feel they are very powerful. And also, they are pretty nice for the bosses, where there's so much going on when you fight a boss that it's kind of hard to concentrate at shooting the enemy, and just having a parasite that automatically seeks out the boss is also very helpful, if you ask me. So there's also some debris here flying around in space, which I'm trying to get, because sometimes there's, like, for example, a level up inside them. So we have, again, 3 upgrades: passive, movement mod. We have a C4. If we look at the code, we can tell every time we kill or, well, destroy an enemy, they explode and deal some AoE damage depending on Well, there we go. 5 times the version of this number. So now it would only deal 5 damage to surrounding enemies. But the higher we upgrade this particular C4 weapon, the higher the damage outputs get. But I'm gonna just go with our core upgrade. This is essentially the shooter we already have. And if I select this, I'm gonna shoot 2 pebbles, so to speak, in my main direction. And I found this basic upgrade to be pretty okay. So this time we have a choice between a chainsaw at our leg. I also like how, if we look to the right side, all these different upgrades visually enhance our character by essentially having these upgrades being melted or upgraded into our frame. You can see if I look at our character, or if we look at our character, this parasite is actually here and now at our eye. So if I would choose this, we would actually have a chainsaw leg, or same with these angelic wings. But I frankly don't really like this upgrade, because this upgrade incentivizes us to literally not move. But there's so much stuff out to get you that, like, not moving is almost always a death sentence. So I'm not gonna pick this, even though, hey, angelic wings sound cool. I'm actually going to try the eye, which essentially shoots out a laser, which is penetrating all the enemies, but it's only doing a little bit of damage. But I'm gonna try this out, because, hey, why not? With not being able to aim, this is gonna work. Also, how do you get XP? How do you get, like, your upgrades for your level ups? It's essentially XP is equal to the damage you deal. As you can see here, if I deal damage to an enemy, we have all these numbers, 38, 51. This is very much correlating to the damage you deal to these specific enemies. I kind of like this. It's kind of honest, because you can see by that how much damage you deal if you pay attention to these specific enemies. And, well, that's equal to your XP as well. So I'm gonna choose another core upgrade. I have found so far in my experience is better in this game to rely on a couple of highly upgraded weapons instead of just a lot of not so highly upgraded weapons. But not sure if this is necessarily the best way, but I found that personally, that I've had the most success with that. Just want to try something out. Unlock normally? No. Okay, there we go. We're just gonna run around Survivorlike style. Enemies are coming to get us. Of course, we are just in the first 3 minutes. Trust me, if you think this is a lot already, no, this is nothing. The game is gonna throw so much more at us. I'm still trying to get the occasional of these boxes, because it's essentially free XP, so to speak, or sometimes extra item. You can see this item, this enemy is glowing. He's way stronger, but he's almost always going to drop an item, which is always helpful. Now we got a magnet, which surprisingly is going to give us, magnetize all the XP on the field and bring it to us. I'm gonna missile pack, I like, but let's actually go with the eye upgrade. I never used that much, but it might be nice. This time, frankly, this is actually a good thing to mention. Even though I played this quite a bit, I actually don't 100% know what some of these upgrades, for example this telecom upgrade, do. With object enemy collision, object weapon, if other object index, object weapon radio. I think in the Steam discussion I saw some people mention that this is a very good item. If instant number object radius less than the version, instant crate. You know what, I'm just gonna take this. Maybe we see a difference. I never picked up this telecom radio upgrade before. Looks like it's doing something if we collide with an enemy. Not sure if this is smart or not. Let's just take it. Whatever. It's gonna be fine. Apparently that's the thing. Because now there's like this red circle spawning behind enemies. So it might not necessarily be. It seems like something else. Maybe it's pushing them away or something. Maybe I should have just tried to understand the mechanic of that radio, but it's fine. As long as we have a lot of parasites, that's going to help. So the developer clearly stated that this is essentially just a demo to give you a taste, having a little bit of the story, the lore, the bosses, and of course the regular enemies. It seems to be designed around the fact that you are pretty much expected to get to like the third wave. For example, this would be my first wave, then we can choose a different route to face off different enemies and survive roughly up to minute 10 or 11. Fight a second boss, and then we will get to the third wave, again 5 minutes, and then a boss maybe. And usually wave 3 is where I am losing, frankly. And so far I've only saw 3 bosses. This first boss is almost always the same. The second boss seems to be very set. And the third boss also seems to be sometimes the first boss, just stronger. But once I've encountered a very strange boss. And that's again where I had this Yumeniki vibe, because he literally just appeared and was standing there. I didn't get a prompt like, "Oh, boss is coming." And I went over to him and he was like, "Dots, do you remember your past? Do you even know what you're doing here?" or something like that. And then he completely obliterated me. That was on my second run or so. And I did not manage to encounter a sad boss ever since. Maybe I can try it this time and show you guys. I would love to. But yeah, I get the vibe from this game, and that's frankly what I'm also hoping for, because I really dig this, is that there's this core mechanic of the Survivor-like gameplay, but frankly, you're trying to just, throughout your game, beside the Survivor-like gameplay, that it wants you to try to essentially unlock the story and progress there by essentially triggering certain events during the game. That's what the demo overall gives me for an impression, if they go for that, I will absolutely dig it. Not quite sure if it 100% is going through that route, but I feel like it is giving you quite a heavy emphasis on this. And there we go, transmission incoming, no new enemies will spawn, and this is essentially the prompt that the boss is right in front of us, telecom. So let's actually try to understand this radio object now. So with the object enemy, so if I collide with an enemy, I think object weapon, or maybe if enemy objects, so enemies collide with my weapons, if other object index is equal to, maybe, object weapon radio. If instant number object weapon radio is less than the version radio equals instant create at that specific location, and it's going to do some radio damage. Other than damage, tune radio knockback 0, radio hit only once, true. Yeah, I don't understand this, but I chose this. Let's just try to upgrade this more. I have to admit, this is something I probably just have to experience. And there we go. There's our first boss. Kikiki, this is so funny. I'm not having fun. Kikiki! Because this boss also has almost every time unique dialogue. He already mentioned so many times, "Hey, do you remember me? We're best friends. Do you even know what you're doing here in space? Can you remember?" So this boss knows, and this is again why you get this Yumeniki and kind of maybe even Undertale kind of vibe, that these bosses know there's something going on we as a player don't quite understand. And there we can see right here the bullet hell factor. There's different phases of the bosses, and I need to evade. Luckily, with the weapons I have equipped, with the laser and the parasites, and having this on auto target, I can literally just focus on dodging. Oh, we gotta go. I was actually so good, thanks to my upgrades, that we didn't even get to the third phase. Nice, I'll take that. So another level up. Let's get the core upgrade. Always pretty nice. Let's get this as I have shown you guys this at the beginning. This is an upgrade. We defeated a boss, and they are now going to drop a driller, which is essentially a bigger buff to one stat and a slight debuff to another one. For example, this decreases our cooldown by 10%, but also decreases our weapon size overall, minus 10%. We don't really have a weapon that relies on its weapon size. For example, if we have shown selected the chainsaw leg, every time we would, again, with the chainsaw leg, shoot some chainsaw blades at the enemies, and the bigger the chainsaw blade, the better usually, right? So as we don't really have this, maybe the parasites, but I don't think that the parasites really matter if they're big or small, because they're just essentially seeking minions anyway. So that seems good. But what do we have that actually correlates with cooldown, now that I think about this? The parasites don't, the laser doesn't, our core mechanic does. Maybe the radio. I'm not sure about the radio. I don't even think so. So the only thing that would really benefit from having a better cooldown would be our core. Movement mod, pickup radius. So maybe weapon size, cooldown mod +5. So weapon size could actually here +20% could be good for the laser maybe. Maybe for the core, which would suffer the only thing with a cooldown mod, or just we take 10% movement buff, but would suffer a pickup radius penalty. Pickup radius penalty is okay. Movement mod +10% sounds good, but I didn't really find it to be that strong. You know what? I'm gonna try with weapon size. Cooldown +5% isn't that bad, but weapon size, I'm kind of hoping that this is going to help our laser. I mean, it's bigger. And now I want to show you guys what I mentioned earlier, this like maybe hidden secret boss, which I think we can maybe encounter now here. So now I chose the second encounter, and you could see by the pictures, this is an even stronger encounter than there's easier ones I could have chosen. So I hope this is a good direction. Because I think the boss here is essentially this thing. This, like, look at how crazy and creepy this is. This is literally unsettling. Like this white circle that is essentially following us. I never touched this. I have no idea what this is going to do, if it kills us or not. Frankly, I don't want to find out. But it's ever going to seek us out. So... And I think this is kind of the secret boss that I fought once, but I don't know what I need to do to make him actually appear as a boss. Because I also managed to play this very specific round and survive to the end, and I fought the generic second boss that I've fought a couple of times already. So maybe we can do this. We can use our black hole, which is at least temporarily getting rid of this thing. I'm gonna try this now, and I hope if I use this on this boss that maybe we essentially, you know, piss him off enough that he wants to face us. But I'm not sure if that is the specific trigger we have to do and have to try to make him really appear. Like, he's there, yeah, with appearing I mean he essentially materializes as, yeah, a body or something. I only managed to see that once, so again, no idea. This is just trying out, and in the hopes I can show you guys this. So using my black holes, maybe not a good idea. Frankly, I don't know. Also, I have to be a bit more careful, because these enemies are really out to get us. I feel like you guys can already tell that it is indeed getting more dangerous, and I still don't understand. I see these radio waves, but I don't fully understand what they actually are doing. You know what? I'm gonna be cocky. It might be stupid what actually happens if we get touched by the white stuff. Maybe I'm going to instantly lose. I hope that's not the case. Oh, yeah, that is the case. I never did that before, because it's actually quite easy to evade this guy. But who knows? Maybe this is secret. So usually this is the screen once you lose the game that shows you what's going on. Where you can see all the codes, and man, there's the term. The governance. This is also what we learned in this memory that I told you guys at the beginning of. We managed to unlock the memory, watched it, and it was essentially that we were like a child. We even have a name, Kazuya or something, and we were amongst the 0.001 top students or applicants to this government secret project, and our planet is essentially, and everybody knew that our planet was essentially doomed, and the apocalypse was there or was imminent, and we were taking the suit that we are navigating in right now doing these Survivorlike levels. That is where the memory ended. We were taking the suit and were sent to space for apparently this last remaining interesting government planet's important mission. Something there. Not sure what the real goal is, but that is essentially what we are supposed to figure out. Okay, well, I tried this. Now it would be interesting to try to restart this again to show you guys maybe the secret boss, but again, I only managed to unlock this at the very, very start of my second run. Ever done that. And apparently touching this white guy is not the right decision. And I'm not sure if I can do this again. Maybe it was like a one-off chance in this very specific demo. I have no idea. I have seen people already surviving this up to like wave 7 and more, because even though this game is designed around you at top survive till like wave 3, we were just died in wave 2 because I, well, took a chance. But of course, people managed to find out which combinations of different weapons and so already kind of broken in this demo. And it's a demo that's fine to survive so much more longer. And it's fun. And it's intriguing. And I think even if I try now again, I could only show you more of the Survivorlike gameplay, maybe a different boss. Unfortunately, not in another memory, even though I think that would be very intriguing. But I hope that I could visualize and show you guys what it is about by just telling and presenting this. Please give me feedback on my presentation. That's always very important to me. But of course, the most important thing, besides hopefully having this been a partially entertaining video, that I could showcase you Picayune Dreams to you and make it interesting to you that you might consider checking out this game. I have to admit, for me personally, I'm looking forward to the full release, which is coming out soon, quotation marks so to speak, because just this very big, and the core gameplay of the Survivorlike as well is just fun. This is one thing that I mention quite often if you have watched my past videos, but the overall music design, the audio design, the visual feedback on hitting enemies, on dodging enemies, on understanding when you hit them, when they hit you, is very well done in here. Also the different enemy design, I'm not sure if I didn't particularly mention this during this run. I hope you guys saw it anyway. Because every single enemy here works different, has one unique mechanic. For example, we saw some like piranha-like looking alien monsters. Also, all the monster design is also very unique, which I find very interesting and very fresh in this style. But these piranha-like monsters also were slowly drifting towards you, and if they are in a specific range to you, they are charging up for a bit and then just shoot at you a little bit faster, which makes them my most dreaded enemies so far, because they I never got the timing out there, and they usually are out there to get me. And of course, later on you meet enemies, they shoot at you, that when they explode they leave some bullets there for seconds, so you can't just destroy them and like drift through their corpse, so to speak, because you have to wait a moment and have to kind of work around that. Then there's also enemies that have some shields to essentially survive your first hit, which is not much of an issue if you have this laser, which is constantly dealing damage, or the parasite. But if you have powerful but more slowly weapons, that could be something which could be very hard to deal with. So there's also enemies that have an impact on how you have your different builds, I feel. And I found this very interesting and very intriguing, and frankly I would like to check this out to give you guys a, well, frankly this is my second impression, to show you a third impression going forward in the future, to see if it can not just impress me or impress you, but actually impress us. As always, please tell me what you honestly think of my presentation of this game, of this video. Your homework, per usual, is first off to stay awesome, second off to share this with a friend that might enjoy this video as well, and we're gonna see each other right about in a few seconds in the next video, right? Bye bye.